What's up, everybody? And I haven't done one of these reviews in a while now. Probably about 2, maybe 3 weeks, but I had to do this one because of specifically one match that, well, I would say two, but one match that was really highlighted for the night, but never really aired on TV on this show. And that is Barbed Wire Massacre 3 on Impact tonight. And yeah, I haven't done a review probably about 2 weeks now for this show. And I had to review Barbed Wire Massacre 3, by the way, which was not on Pop TV because they said it was too violent. And TNA has this deal with Twitch now. So as soon as the show ended from here, when the match was about to begin, you had to go to Twitch.com and watch it. And we all know Twitch is mostly a video gaming site, for channels. But I do remember Twitch airing that horrible Triple Mania show, which don't even get me started on that. And I don't know, I just didn't know what was going on. It was a lot of bad things. And then that's when Rosemary got injured by a sexy star. But, other than that, Barbed Wire Massacre 3 aired on here tonight. And yes, I have missed a couple reviews. One I could have done, but I was just so disgusted. And I'm sure a lot of you all were too. I was really disgusted the way how James Storm went out of the company in that Dan Lambert match, which, Jesus Christ, that was horrible to look at. And I just sat there and I watched the next week, and then I'm seeing all these other people coming to hell. Even when this match ended, he's hugging him in the back. I'm sitting there wondering, like, where were the rest of the wrestlers out there to help him? Seriously, where were they? And and I couldn't believe that's really the way he went out. I'm really surprised. It couldn't have been I don't know, he could have put over a younger wrestler, not put over Dan freaking Lambert. And I was really disgusted by that. And I don't know what's gonna happen in the next set of tapings, which I know have already happened, but I try to stay away from much of spoilers if I can. I know people have already been saying that Lashley is gone, so now they want to drop this whole. Well, I hope they do drop this whole American Top Team thing. Wasn't bad at first, but now it's just god awful. And I felt bad for Bobby Lashley through this whole thing because this man was the world champion on this show and very dominant, a dominant world champion that didn't need a squad and was more credible on his own and can actually cut at some very good to decent promos, and a very dominant world champion. So I don't know what his contract, and people talk about EC3, and I try to stay away from many other spoilers also I don't really want to get into, and Laurel Van Ness. And when you watch these shows now and then you get to the next tapings, it's like, yeah, you gotta do the tapings and the show's gonna air on TV, but it's hard to watch the show when you know some people are gone, because as soon as the tapings kind of end or whatever, they leave the company right after. And then when you watch it, it just feels weird because they're not there anymore. And I've said this in the past too, so it's really strange. But I don't know, they let people out of their contracts early, or they just ask for their release and they grant it, or I don't know. And I'm hoping this new thing, I know it's a new management team right now, and I've been hearing a lot of stuff, and some people injuries and whatever, but we know Don Callis from New Japan Pro Wrestling and Scott D'Amore are now pretty much the vice presidents. I'm sure they have the head creative right now also, which I'm hoping they do better. I know there's supposed to be new title belts in April to get rid of those what the hell? I'm shooting, this camera is, why is it flashing like that? Okay, stop with the flashing. It's strange. Alright, enough. Enough! Sorry about that. I may have had to pause it there, but yeah, I don't know, my camera was messing up for a second. Well, weird stuff. But as I was saying throughout the tapings, and I know, yes, I said Don Callis and Scott D'Amore, pretty much head creative of Impact right now. And, you know, I'm ready for these tapings to end here so we can get to the new ones that are happening in Orlando, Florida. We know there's a 4-sided ring again. Like I said, new title belts are being created because we saw how bad that GFW debacle went, and Jeff Jarrett becoming a drunk then pretty much went bad. And don't get me wrong, it's like this. I never believed Jeff Jarrett and his whole GFW thing to begin with, but I was admitting that they put on a good show at Slammiversary, and it was getting better. And they really were getting better through the first few months. Minus Karen Jarrett, but they really were. And then it's just like shit hit the fan then once we kind of got near and the Bound for Glory. And it just kind of got bad. Really bad. So, you know, I hope they have a better year this year and stop with the name changes. And we're just going by Impact now, but these name changes have made it very, very difficult for the show. And I'm sure difficult for many, many people. So, hopefully they can really find themselves in this identity. I know Jericho really did recommend D'Amore and Don Callis. So I do believe they have the right ideas. I hope they have the right ideas, to be honest, because this company really needs it. But, you know, hopefully, you know, just hope for the best right now. But other than my little thing on that, Desmond Xavier went against Taiji Ishimori for the X Division Championship, which actually a really good match. More than I can say what's going on with the Cruiserweight division right now in WWE, which I liked it. Yeah, it was a little bit slower at one point. It was a very good match, very long, decent match, but I enjoyed a lot of spots. I enjoyed Desmond Xavier jumping into the crowd, was great, and his CQC combo against Ishimori, with Ishimori pretty much come back, dodging him, taking him, you know, very strong kick to the head, the deadlift superplex off the top rope. I thought he was gonna win with his you know, final flash move, but he didn't, and he told Ishimori to stay down. But after he tried to hit that, you know, that Eddie Guerrero Mars kick, Ishimori caught him and hit him with the gutbuster and double gutbuster, and then hit him with a 450 splash for the win. But I liked it. I really liked this one-on-one match. Yeah, it could have been a little bit more build-up, but I really did enjoy this match. I really liked it. But I will give the Impact one thing. They've done better with the X Division, what I can say, instead of throwing them into multi-man spot fest. I really do. So, I really enjoyed the match out of both these guys. Now, I know there was a lot of time to fill out in this show, because they showed a very long video packages with LAX and OVE, pretty much before and after Bound for Glory, which is good, don't get me wrong, but it was just a very long package, which some people think they ran out of material, so they had to do the video packages then. So I don't know how many matches they did during that time, but they could have, I don't know, had some more for it. But they really had a very long video package. I mean, they could have more matches, but they just had a long video package for it, which is pretty good. But and doing that whole fireball thing with Conan and Sami Callihan, but it was just really long. They had to pass up time, and they played a bonus match with it was Eddie Edwards and Aaron Rex back at Bound for Glory 2016 with the debut of the Grand Championship. They showed a video package for Matt Sydal versus EC3 in a match, which I believe is an Iron Man. They said 60 minutes, but a regular match for Genesis. Congo Kong went against Chandler Park, which I don't know. What's that? Ethan Page and Chandler Park. The voice thing is very annoying. And yes, Congo Kong won with Jimmy Jacobs, the zombie princess out there, which some people say he's doing what he did in Ring of Honor, which this guy needs to be more creative, you ask me, because this man helped create the list of Jericho, so this man needs to be on creative, big time. But I do want to see what else Jimmy Jacobs will do. What else for Abyss and the X-Sign trying to help Chandler, even though he does that anyways when he's Abyss, than Joseph Park. I don't know, Ethan Page, just like I said, the Chandler Park thing, it's just, the voice is annoying. I'm sure there's going to lead up in Abyss versus Congo Kong soon enough, so I don't know where that's going to go, but we'll see what happens. The BCW, I believe this is Border City Wrestling, and showing a Motor City Mayhem match with Johnny Impact, Alberto El Patron, and Eli Drake for the World Heavyweight Championship, which at least there was better footage this week and it didn't look like an empty crowd when they wrestled here. But they gotta stop putting the world title on the line in these other indie arenas, because it just doesn't look like there are a lot of people there to begin with. And yeah, they super kicked the ref in front of TNA, put up super kick party on their Twitter, and then the Young Bucks kind of responded to it after saying super kick party, and then they beat up a wrestler. It was pretty much a no finish, and I'm sitting there like, this was the world title match again. So I'll speak more on that in a minute. Rosemary went against Casey Spinelli. Rosemary won, and then she cut a promo talking about Allie getting her title shot against Laurel Van Ness, and talking about the Mad Bride. And yes, she knows Allie has been on her side, but just know, if you win that title, I'm coming after you when the alliance is over. But here's the strange thing about this. And Rosemary, Rosemary I feel like hasn't won a lot of matches lately, going into enhancement talent. And then Hanaya, the Huntress, debuted, and I'm getting a long thing about this for a second, after pretty much coming in and beating up Rosemary, which looked really kind of bad in a way. I don't know, the punch is just really bad for some reason. But yeah, she beat her, but beat her up and pretty much Scorpion Death Drop on the steel steps. But here's the strange thing about this. She debuts, right? But she debuts and immediately kind of got fired, I heard, at the tapings, to what I've read. It's almost like, so let me get this straight. The episode where they play her debut, she gets fired already, and the story is this. They said she didn't want to job to somebody in like 90 seconds. I believe it was Sue Young, which kind of makes sense after you just debuted and they're trying to build you up. Now, I don't know about all these other stories about Taya, which probably may be true, saying something about her, because I don't know. People say this girl has had a lot of bad attitude on the indies, and they said she didn't want to work with anybody or put anybody over during these tapings. Said she disrespected Gail Kim. She was supposed to be she disrespected Gail Kim. She was late to many of the tapings. She's supposed to be brought as knockdown, knockout, one of them one night only pay-per-views, but pretty much showed up late and sent the flight bill to TNA themselves. And it was just a lot of bad press for her and stories, so they fired her. Now, there was a statement made by her today I read saying they said they were on mutual terms, and they left on mutual terms and just came to an agreement. But I didn't know who to believe, because when I first read this story, it's like, this girl really did have this attitude and doing all this stuff, then yeah, she kind of deserved to get fired. Don't get me wrong, I don't think she should have been jobbing anybody in 90 seconds, but if all that other stuff is true, then yeah, she probably had to go then, because that's kind of working with somebody bad business right there. Now, I don't know, I've heard a couple more stories about her, and that doesn't really have to do with going on to why she was fired, but I heard there was attitude problems with her before in the indies, or something about sleeping with the guy from Chikara, what's his name, Mike Quackenbush, and he got into a divorce then because of her. But I don't know much about this Hanaya girl, but like I said, if all that stuff is really true, that's really fucked up, and yeah, she kind of deserves to be fired then if all that happened and didn't really want to respect or work with anybody. So, and they said she just probably went a business for herself, so it just didn't, I don't know. It's just strange to me she gets hired then fired, so just odd. And as they pretty much finish up the video packages for OVE and LAX, they came out, which literally that's when the show ended, because this match was too violent for TV. And yes, I saw the match on Twitch, and yes, it was brutal. It was very violent. Those barbed wire spots was crazy. Homicide being thrown into like in a suplex on the barbed wire. Many chair shots to the head, which they said, here's the thing, we're on Twitch, so this shouldn't be able to say anything. I'm looking at the bleep out "fuck you" and blur out the middle finger sign. Also, if it's on Twitch, it's not even on TV. That's one thing. I think this match was brutal. Jay Chris pretty much being wrapped up in the barbed wire, and then him with a Death Valley drive was brutal, but he didn't get her in spirit. Ortiz through a table, him screaming like a girl, Forks being involved, but the main thing when I was reading the comments through this match was people didn't like it because it wasn't bloody. And yes, they did wear a lot of clothes on, and maybe they were trying to protect themselves, or maybe the company was looking out for the well-being of the wrestlers pretty much. But listen, this wasn't a bloodbath. This isn't Abyss versus Judas Messias or Sabu like in the past. So I think people can forget about that part. And it was still brutal, though. They had cuts, they had bruises. I could see some of the cuts and bruises, but I think people really wanted to see a bloodbath between these two teams. And these two teams have been great and put on some very great matches, and one of the best feuds they had in this company right now. But I get it where people say it should have been a bloodbath, but maybe this was on pay-per-view that it should have been. But like I said, maybe they were looking on the well-being for the wrestlers. You saw they wore a lot of protective clothing on themselves. Like, you could still see the cuts and bruises. And maybe there's stuff we didn't see on them. But this was still a pretty much crazy match. And the spike thing to the head with Santana putting the spikes on, I think it was Dave Chris's head. Because they said Sami Callihan did this in, Lucha Underground on Brian Cage. And I saw that was a very sickening spot, too. And very bloody. So, yeah, was some scary spots or crazy spots out there? Yes. Was there chair shots to the head multiple times? Yes. Was there barbed wire being thrown everywhere? Yes, it was. I just think the main thing people complain about was a lack of blood. They just want to see a bloodbath out there. I still enjoyed the match. I think it was great. If you want to go watch it, they did post it on their YouTube site. And the full match is on YouTube if you want to check it out. And it's worth it. I think it was worth it. It was brutal. It was crazy. Look like you probably cringe a little at some parts, but I think the main thing is that people didn't see a bloodbath, and Santana did win with the suplex off the ladder into the table. Some people look at it as a hardcore match, and Conan getting involved, so LAX picked up the win. Is this the final thing, the overall payoff to this? Most likely, so they'll probably have to move on to some other teams, but I don't know any other tag teams in TNA right now other than LAX and OVE. And as for Genesis next week, which will be a triple threat for the World Heavyweight title between Eli Drake, Alberto Patron, and Johnny Impact. EC3 versus Matt Sydal for the Impact Grand Championship. Moose versus Bobby Lashley. And Laurel Van Ness versus Ali for the Knockouts Championship. Listen, I don't know what's going to go on. I believe this is the last of the tapings next week for this Genesis show. And I hope it's good, most likely, but I don't know. We already know most of the stories about EC3 and Bobby Lashley and where their future lies into this, and people just wanting them to go to WWE like insanely already now. Laurel Van Ness, I believe, leaving, which is really strange to me when I looked at this whole story. It's like, let me get this straight. This girl asked for her release when they put the title on her. So I don't know. Her story is weird. Because it's almost like some people think WWE was in her ear already, or Zack Ryder, since it's his, Zack Ryder's her boyfriend and everything. So some people think she was probably convinced to come over to WWE by that. But I just find it odd that you run out of your contract now after they put the title on you. Like, God, could you wait till your contract is up first or something? Because it's kind of odd you want to go now after they give you a push. So that whole story is very strange to me. And I'm sure more is in it, but that's just very odd. So we'll see what happens on Genesis next week, and hopefully this is one way to go out good with the tapings, actually have a good world title match. But if you want to go see the Barbed Wire Massacre 3 match, it's worth the watch. And I actually did enjoy Ishimori and Desmond Xavier for the X Division title. So those are my two matches of the night, if you want to look at that. Everything else was mostly a lot of very long video packages. And I guess the Hanaya debut. But yeah, I am out of here. I will see you guys later. Peace out.